All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Las Vegas Raiders in today's video. We keep getting so many news about head coach, and Ben Johnson was just interviewed this past weekend. Mike Vrabel just became the head coach of the New England Patriots. Vance Joseph, I believe, is getting interviewed today. We're going to get into that a little bit later on. Mike McCarthy just got fired. There's actually a lot of head coaching opportunities out there in the NFL, and there's a lot of really good candidates, in my opinion. And obviously with this Las Vegas Raiders team, let's just get into the first report. This was from Adam Wells. This was like 2 days ago. Sorry, it was busy wild card round a weekend. But the NFL rumor was that Tom Brady and the Raiders are willing to wait for Lions Ben Johnson for the head coaching job. So per NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, the Raiders are willing to wait for Johnson to become available if the Lions have a long playoff run. Now, he also noted that this past Friday, the Raiders had a virtual interview with Ben Johnson, and I think he was also speaking with the Bears and the Jacksonville Jaguars this past weekend because Detroit was currently on their bye week in the wild card round. The two big things with Ben Johnson for me heading into this year, his two rumors were the New England Patriots and Mike Vrabel was just hired, and the Chicago Bears. And to just keep it a buck with you, as someone born and raised in the Chicagoland area, I don't know why you'd want to really be for your first head coaching gig, the head coach for the Chicago Bears outside of Caleb Williams. Like Caleb, even though they have a decent roster, the ownership is just so bad over there. And honestly, that could steer Ben Johnson away from Las Vegas. But according to Jonathan Jones of CBS Sports, Tom Brady has been doing all he can do to woo Ben Johnson to join this Raiders team. Folks, welcome back to the channel. Obviously, we're talking about the Las Vegas Raiders like we do almost every single day. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily Raiders talk. If we could try and get this video to 100 likes, folks, that would mean the world to me. But real quick, let me know down below, who do you want the head coach for the Raiders to be this upcoming season? Also, keeping on the topic of Ben Johnson, per The Athletic's Diana Rossini, Brady's presence as a part of Raiders ownership has given them an edge in attracting candidates who probably were not even thinking that they wanted to work with the Las Vegas Raiders. She also recently reported that Brady will have a lot of influence on this coaching staff for this team. They're also in the market for a new GM because Tom Telesco just got fired this past week after the 4-13 record, which sucks for Tom because he drafted some really good players. JPJ, Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is already a top 5 tight end in the NFL. Looks like he's got an extremely bright future in this league. And honestly, Tom Brady and Brock Bowers, those are two really big reasons why an offensive coach would want to come to Las Vegas. Now, theoretically, I want Ben Johnson because of his offensive mind. I want Ben Johnson because of his creativity, and I want them to go out there and get a quarterback, and I want him to develop this young rookie quarterback in the top 10 picks, right? Defensive coaches, just like Antonio Pierce, worry me in the sense of, do they understand offense? Do they understand? So the old adage is good coaches hire good coaches, right? Jim Harbaugh, notoriously more of a defensive guy, right? Loves to run the football, however. But he went out there and got two really good, capable coordinators. And the reason I'm saying this is because the report today is that the Raiders are eyeing Vance Joseph for the head coaching role after the Broncos' NFL playoff loss to the Bills. Now, before I get into this report, I'm usually hesitant on a team that doesn't have a quarterback like the Raiders, that needs more weapons on the offense, and they just, the offensive line's got to get figured out, even though there's a lot of nice pieces on it. This offense is kind of a mess. Dan Quinn last year was hired from the Washington Commanders, and he went out there and got Cliff Kingsbury. So if you're going to make a move like that, which is actually exactly what the Raiders tried to do last year, was hire Cliff Kingsbury to be the offensive coordinator, and it looked like it was about to happen, and then that fell through, then you have to settle for Luke Getsy, who is an offensive mind. But if you watch the Chicago Bears game with Justin Fields, it was clear that Luke Getsy probably shouldn't have been an offensive coordinator again right after that job. But the Las Vegas Raiders reportedly requested to speak with Broncos defensive coordinator Vance Joseph regarding the head coaching position. This is a report today from NFL Network's Ian Rappaport. Now, he used to be a head coach for the Denver Broncos back in 2017 and 2018. He went 11-21 in 2 years, got fired immediately. immediately. And then after that, he went on to be the Arizona Cardinals defensive coordinator for like 3 years, 2019 to 2022. And then he went with Sean Payton back to the Denver Broncos to be the defensive coordinator. Now, last year, they kind of struggled, but this year, this was like the cream de la creme. I mean, this was a phenomenal Broncos defense. They averaged only 18.3 opponents' points per game, 317 yards per game allowed. That's number 3 in opponents' points per game and number 7 in yards per game allowed. So Vance Joseph just had a phenomenal defensive season. But my concerns with the Las Vegas Raiders is it doesn't really boil down to defense. Honestly, this roster is a lot better than people think. Obviously, they need to figure out the quarterback. They need to figure out the running back room. There's a lot of smaller things that they need an upgrade at, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to talk about this all off season, so I'm not going to waste your guys' time talking about it now. But the biggest thing is, no matter if it's Ben Johnson as the head coach, no matter if it's even Cliff Kingsbury, if it's Mike McCarthy, if it's Vance Joseph, no matter who it is, I need 2 things. Number one, most importantly, is going to be an offensive coordinator and also the quarterback. Honestly, probably the quarterback is number 1 and the offensive coordinator is number 2, but they kind of go hand in hand here. The Raiders have a top 10 draft pick, and they have some players who I don't know. I don't see the Raiders trading a dude like Max Crosby away. I don't see that happening. I could see that happening at some point in his NFL career, but I don't see the Raiders moving up, trading Max Crosby and a first round pick and a swap for to move up 4 or 5 spots. This year's quarterback class is really interesting, which is also why I'm really glad, honestly, Tom Brady is in this ownership group, because he's got such attention to detail. He's just a really smart football mind, and I'm just glad to have him a part of this ownership group over in Las Vegas to just try and get things back on track here. But first and foremost, man, I'm curious I got 2 questions for Raiders fans, especially watching this video. Number 1 is, who do you want the head coach to be this upcoming season? If you had your pick, who is number 1? And then number 2, what's your idea with the quarterback position? Because they're either going to trade for a QB. I've seen dumb rumors Kirk Cousins. I've seen stuff that I don't hate, like Aaron Rodgers. But either way, whether it's the first round or the second round, or you still go out there and trade for a QB, or you sign a QB, a vet QB on the market, you have to draft somebody. They have to draft a quarterback in these first 2 rounds and just develop him. Gardner Minshew was probably the worst signing of the offseason, especially for the Raiders, but maybe even in the NFL. Maybe not, because the contract wasn't bad, but Gardner's got to go. That didn't work. I love Aiden O'Connell, but I think they need a little bit more juice, a little bit more flair at the quarterback position. So those are my 2 questions. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily Raiders content. I will keep you guys as updated as humanly possible about this head coaching search, because it's probably going to end relatively soon. And that's it for me. Peace.